CME just made one of the biggest structural changes to Bitcoin trading in years. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what actually is changing, what isn't, and what it means for how you personally trade. So what's actually happened is that CME Group, which is the world's largest regulated derivatives exchange, they've changed Bitcoin futures and options to 24/7 trading as of this week. So they're now going to be available for trading 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, prior to this, CME closed on Friday afternoons in New York time, and they reopened on Sundays at 5 p.m. New York. So that closure over the weekend is now gone, and it's replaced with just a minor maintenance window. By the way, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. I'm Annie and this is Trade Trouble Chill. Over on this channel, we trade pure price action based on anticipating market maker behavior. This means that we anticipate big moves within particular trading hours, and now with CMEs going 24/7, the rules that we trade by are going to change potentially a little bit. Now, when CME was closed over the weekend, Bitcoin price was still able to move thanks to crypto exchanges such as Binance and Bitfinex. And by the way, if you're looking for an exchange to trade on with competitive fee structure and great liquidity, check out the link below this video for Bitfinex Exchange. If you join them using that link, you'll automatically get VIP2 rates for life, saving up to 25% on all your trading fees. Now, let's go back to CME. So when CME futures reopened on Sundays, they usually opened at a different price than Friday's close, and that close created a gap. You can see that here. It's a visual gap on the chart. Now, historically, around 77% of gaps do eventually get filled, meaning that eventually price will return to close that gap at some point. And so traders would build entire trading strategies around this. So now what this means is that that Sunday open gap becomes the main casualty of this whole thing. There's no more weekend closure, and that means no more gap forming. Now, in terms of the trading strategy that we use over here at TTC, which is the trade by design system, we understand that market makers trap retail traders into open weekend positions on Fridays, so that come Sunday when the market reopens, they have open liquidity to liquidate those traders whilst building their own positions before they then make the week's real move. But now with the market maker essentially trading 24/7, they don't set that same trap anymore. But in saying that, here's where I think most traders are going to get it wrong. As you can see here on this chart, this here is the Friday trap move that happened actually this Friday that just passed. As part of the TBD system, we expect this. This is the way the model works currently, where you have the weekend trap, which is sideways consolidation. Then you have the false move that opens the week, and then price moves in the real direction for 3 levels or 3 days before creating a reversal pattern. And then it will move in another 3 levels or 3 days in the other direction before giving that Friday trap move and then trapping you back into the weekend sideways consolidation. Now, how that trap looks can change week to week, but this was how it formed on Friday just past. Going back to the false move week beginning, this here was the weekend price action. There was a stop hunt here, so traders would have opened short positions, had their stop loss maybe just above this week, for example, and it only took one little wick there to liquidate them in the false move this way before then sending the price in the opposite direction. So that's what the false move week beginning looks like. Now, both of these things aren't about retail traders being unable to exit their positions over the weekend. Your average retail crypto trader was never trapped in that way because they've always been able to trade on 24/7 crypto exchanges. But the traders who were technically constrained by CME hours were institutional. They were hedge funds, prop firms, ETF issuers like BlackRock hedging IB exposure as an example. So these are sophisticated participants who always had to manage risk. So that Friday trap was really about one thing, and that one thing hasn't actually changed. That being institutions moving price swiftly on Friday to induce retail traders to open positions right before the weekend and then get stuck in a low volume weekend range where the trade just doesn't hit their stop loss, but it also doesn't hit their take profit, thereby trapping liquidity for the Sunday open, which is what the market maker needs. So liquidity grabs, stop hunts, and psychological manipulation of retail sentiment don't require CME gaps to exist. Those dynamics are rooted in human behavior and institutional order flow, both of which are permanent features of the market. Those traps can happen every single day. So what you really need to know is what actually becomes more important now that we have this change. And Luckily for you, I have the answer to this. In my opinion, session-based trading is now the primary weekly framework. What I mean by that is, if you look down here on my chart, you'll see that I have these different session times marked with Asia, UK, and US. You can add this indicator to your chart as well for free by going to the indicators in TradingView and just type in market sessions and then look for market session times by Trade Travel Chill. That will put that on your chart no matter what your personal time zone is. It's going to be correct according to CME session times, which is different to other market times. So ignore everything else that you see online. These ones are correct, but this is going to be your primary framework. And this is going to be relevant now across 7 days, whereas it used to be only relevant across 5 days. Now, in addition to that, your levels per day are also going to be the next most important thing. So let me explain what I mean by that. There are 3 different types of levels that matter every single week. The first one is called the high and the low of the week, and that is taken from the prior week to the week that you're trading. So if this is the current week, during that week, the high and the low of the week prior were significant levels. This right here was the highest point that price went in that week, and this week here was the lowest point that price went in that week. That becomes the high of the new week, and this becomes the low of the new week. As you can see, I have that marked with my indicator on this chart. That indicator is a private indicator. You need to be part of TTC in order to get access to it. And you can check out our website below if you're keen to join us. Otherwise, you can simply manually draw these in every week. So that's the first one, is the high and the low of the week. The next one is called the high and the low of the day. And what that means is whatever session you're trading that day, let's just say you're trading this day, which is Tuesday, you need to look back to Monday, the day before, and mark the highest point that price went on that day and the lowest point that price went on that day. And you move those 2 levels across to the new trading day. So this green line here on my indicator has marked this candle right here from the prior day, moved it over to the next day being Tuesday, and it's marked this candle right here as the lowest point on Monday and moved it across over into Tuesday. The third one is the high and low of Asia every single day. So using this one here, this gets marked after Asia session has completed. Asia finishes and you're marking out the lowest point that price went for that Asia session and the highest point that price went for that Asia session. Now these levels, they were always important, but now they're the main reference point for traders trading systems similar to mine. If you're already trading session-based levels, your framework actually became more universally relevant, not less. So let's go and have a look at how Bitcoin is looking for this week that's about to open. I'm going to zoom out really quickly just to show the daily time frame, because this is a chart that, if you watch this channel regularly or you follow my X account, you're probably aware of this, but this is the daily chart. And really, I've been waiting for this higher time frame move to happen. And really everything is just kind of going as normal. We had these 2 high levels of liquidity above price. And over here in the beginning of May, we took the first one. So that level is now gone and we've moved away ever since. We are creating this flag, and at this point in time, the price still is within the flag, waiting to see if we actually get a flag breakdown. What I am anticipating this week, what I do think is possible, is a possible move up first to retest maybe somewhere between 78 to 80K. That might feel like we're bullish again if you're trading small time frames, but if that's where we kind of peak out, if we end up creating a lower high within this flag channel, then that's going to increase the likelihood, in my opinion, of price moving down into these lower liquidity zones. That could take a lot of time because this is a daily chart. This lower liquidity zone goes to about 52K. So yeah, over, let's just say by the end of 2026, it is possible that we do see Bitcoin in the low 50s, but any move to the upside, just keep zooming out to the daily time frame. Don't get too carried away, because we really need to see if it creates a macro lower high, then we need to get prepared for further downside. Moving to the 4-hour chart, again, if you're following the TBD system where things tend to happen in levels of 3, then what you can see here is that we had that reversal pattern which you see here. That's the reversal pattern. And we've dropped through here, being the drop level 1, created another M formation. And in my opinion, we've had level 2. So level 2 went to my target, which was at about 73.5K, went a little bit lower, but close enough. And now I'm anticipating a possible level 3 drop on the 4-hour time frame. But again, like I said, doesn't mean we won't move up before down, but any move to the upside, I still think you need to be cautious of for as long as they're creating macro lower highs. The lower we go down in time frames, the more the current price looks like it's not going to have that daily time frame retracement to 78.80. It looks like it's going to roll over from here. So honestly, be prepared for both. Best case is we go 78.80 before we go down, gives you a good chance to open a really nice short position with a really good risk to reward. But worst case, we flop from here, and I'll show you why on the 1-hour time frame. So the 1-hour time frame has me particularly, I'm not going to say worried because I'm in a short since the all-time high, so it'd be great for me, but worried for further downside is that when I have a look at the levels on the 1-hour time frame, you can see we've got a drop through here, we've had a drop through here, and we've had a level 3 drop through here. Then basically reset and we started all over again. So that's where the method becomes complicated and you need to learn it in full. Again, come join us at TTC. We're trading this one method all together as a community all the time. So you have a lot of support inside of the community. But we've started again with a reset. And what's happening right now is this price action right here looks to me like it's building a bear flag before potentially moving down for the next levels. That bear flag could have, because if the false move still happens this week, which again, we don't know, it's all a wait and see because this is new for all of us. But if it does, we may have a false move that comes up potentially somewhere to the 200 EMA and then we drop down, or we may just hold this level and drop straight down from here because this also looks like a bit of a triangle formation, which I don't trade typical retail patterns, but I keep an eye on them to understand what other traders will be looking at. And they actually are fairly accurate when they're in between the right levels. And in this case, it is. So I won't go into detail about that, but you can just trust me. So if something like this were to happen, then it would lead to the level 2 drop. So if there is any fast move to the upside, if it looks like a stop hunt or it gives us low time frame reversal formation, just get prepared because don't let that move to the upside suck you in unless market structure actually changes and we start actually getting higher highs and higher lows. Without that, I think we're heading down lower. Now, here's the best news of all, in my opinion. Look, I've never denied that learning to trade in a way that anticipates market makers' moves before they happen is extremely difficult. It's worth it for sure, but it is difficult. But CME moving to 24/7 is actually really good, in my opinion. It's going to simplify, particularly this trading method, moving forward, especially for the newer traders, because the old framework required this kind of understanding. You need to ask yourself, is there a gap to fill? What direction is the gap? Are we in the false move of the week? Are we in the Friday trap of the week? Where's the liquidity? Where's the volume? Where's all this stuff, right? We have many, many, many questions to ask. What day of the week is it? What are we expecting? All of these kind of things. And that is like a significant mental overload before you even really look at the price. But now the weekly narrative becomes a lot more simplified. All you're going to have to do is ask yourself, where is price within the weekly range? Which session is driving price in which kind of trend? And is the liquidity resting above that or below that? There's going to be fewer variables and that leads to cleaner decisions. I also believe that eventually weekend trading might become worth your time. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think volume and liquidity that is created during the week will all of a sudden just equal weekend volume. But I do think within probably several months, we might start to see volume smooth out more. And do you know what? Just quietly, if you have been trading the method that we trade over the last few months, then you will know that what's been so irritating about the market lately is that Trump has been strategically making his announcements right after market close, which only affects the crypto market because everything else is closed. But guess what? That can't happen anymore because now it's 24/7 trading. So it's actually going to be another positive in my opinion. And the reason for that is because weekend price action now is going to have a proper two-sided institutional participation. And also moves that happen Saturday and Sunday, in my opinion, are more likely to be real directional moves with follow through rather than just thin liquidity noise that ends up reversing because it was just part of some irritating announcement or X post or whatever. We have to wait and see, but this is kind of what I'm anticipating. Now, for people who work Monday to Friday, weekend trading just became a genuinely structured opportunity rather than the kind of Wild West environment that we've been seeing. So that's another positive as well. So what I want you to take away from this video is that this change exposes a weakness in mechanical rule-based trading. Yep, I'm talking about my own trading strategy as well as many others just like mine. I'm not afraid of it because I'm aware of it. And I'm rising to the challenge of learning how my trading will need to adapt over the next few months or whatever. And the reason why I'm making this video is to pre-warn you that you might need to get ready to do the same. The skill that we've obtained, thus far, or for as long as you guys have been watching this channel, it's been in understanding session structure and liquidity. It's not memorizing which day of the week to expect a move and whatnot. I mean, that's kind of always been true. This change just makes it more obvious. So the CME gap era is over, but smart money behavior, session liquidity, and retail psychology has not changed at all. If you understood why these setups worked, you're going to stay ahead. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already and leave a comment below. See you on the next video.